about 4 years in that business, they have what I call the 3-year turn and burn cycle. We oftentimes get stuck. We get stagnant. We get bored. We start to resent the business. We get distracted and we go start something new because we want that feeling again. I'm a firm believer that burnout is not because of working too many hours. Just like you said, burnout is because you're not doing the things outside of work or inside of work that give you life and joy. Ask yourself, what did I hire this business to do for me? Okay, the business didn't hire you, but I think a lot of us treat it that way, that we work for the business. No, the business works for you. Get clear on what you hired it to do. And if it's not doing what you want it to do, ask, what change do I need to make this next 90 days to make it better?
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Jackpot Show, where we talk about all things real estate, finance, and entrepreneurship. And today I have a very dear friend of mine with me, Trevor, the founder of Carrot. And Carrot is a platform for lead generation for real estate. But I have a feeling we're going to talk about much more than that, because also Trevor is a brilliant entrepreneur, has built his company through multiple stages of growth, and I definitely want to dive into that too. So if you want to know about how to build a company, how to make sure you see the different platforms and different plateaus and how to break through those, this is your episode. On top of it, of course, knowing about and learning about how to generate more leads for your real estate business through technology and through a really cool platform. So with that said, Trevor, welcome to the show.
Jack, dude, I'm pumped to be on here with you, man. I was, before I hopped in here, I was thinking, when did I first meet Jack? And I think it was 2007 or 8. Probably in Vegas.
2007 or 8. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Might have been in Vegas. It might not have been, but dude, it's been just fun and a joy seeing you grow over the years. And the time we get together, which isn't too crazy often, I always look up to what you and Michelle are doing. It's just so cool. So appreciate you inviting me on.
Definitely you're not looking up. You're looking, if anything, sideways or down. But anyway, so that's,
I don't know.
No, like we look up to you, man. So yes, I think it was 2007. It was, I actually was Vegas. We went to a networking, kind of real estate networking event, and somewhere to the kind of group that was thing, we agreed to meet up in the luggage area and take a taxi together. And that's the first time we met in person. I remember that. Yes. Yep. So very cool. So tell us very quickly, you started, founded, created, and grew Carrot.com, and tell us what Carrot does and why is it such a cool place for people to engage with, or why is it a cool platform?
Dude, at the highest level, so we help real estate investors and agents now, like home services business, it could be a HVAC company or roofer. We help you generate more motivated leads. And if you kind of look across the board, if you were to search like sell my house fast, insert any city, state in America or Canada, or even land, right? Sell my land or sell vacant land. Our clients generate, almost about 1 million leads per year just through the internet. And they control about 50% of all the motivated house seller top 5 rankings in Google across every city market. Every market in the country on the top 3 motivated house sellers phrases. Dude, land has been huge. Land and mobile home. I think in this season that we're in right now, we keep on seeing more and more mobile home leads come in, and people leverage our websites for it. Launch a high-performing website, use our marketing tools, use our CRM product, and we help you grow and make more money.
Awesome. Love that. All right. So in essence, so walk me through the process. So somebody says, I got a real estate business, or I have starting a land business or a house flipping business. And do they use you guys as their main website, or do you set them up as a parallel website, or how does that typically work?
Dude, at a high level, so I'm going to go to kind of what I would guide people normally on the strategy side. Is we'll work with a lot of people who already have a website, whether it's with Land Profits or whether it's with an all-in-one platform out there that has a kind of a freebie site. The challenge is that a lot of people are confusing their online brand. They've got a website here and a website here, and oh man, this software gives me a free website, so I'm going to launch one here. And when you have a confused online brand, your prospects who Google search you from your direct mail or your cold calling, your billboards or radio or TV commercials, they're confused as well. And so kind of one of my rules of thumb is number one, all offline marketing drives online demand, right? I don't care what type of marketing you do. Direct mail works amazingly well for land sellers, as you know better than probably anybody in the country. And a portion of those sellers are going to go, who is this person? and they're going to go pick up their phone or go to the computer and Google search anything that's identifiable on that direct mail piece. So it could be a phone number. It could be a URL if you have one. A lot of our clients who are doing land include their website to build trust, build credibility, convert them when they go there. If there's a company name, they'll Google search that because people are skeptical by nature. And so our first aim is you should have one core, what I call an authority hub. You should have one core hub. And that online hub, that website is literally the hub of your credibility. It's where your reviews are, your testimonials are, a good solid about page. You have good professional copy on there that walks through what you do. So that's the ideal, Jack, is most people when they're coming over to Carrot, they're saying, I'm actually coming over to get an upgrade and to get better performance with my website, because they know that every little percentage point of conversion rate that goes down. So if the website just performs a little less because it's slower, to load or just not set up to convert as well as our platform, because we're always testing it and staying ahead of the market. You lose one deal a year. If your average profit per deal is 10K or 20K, you just lost 10 or 20K by not tightening that up. So ideally, one core site for going after your core type of lead. And then we're just going to help you really dial in the credibility on the performance, the conversion, and make it work with your other marketing. Make all of your other marketing work better.
All right, very cool. So you set that up for people. You help them set up the domain, the website. Obviously, yours are highly SEO optimized. You're highly super fast loading. All those different things that make Google love it and make it come up very, very quickly.
Yep.
Cool.
Exactly.
So how do you come up with that idea in the first place?
Dude, so before Carrot, around the time you and I met, actually, I would say that previous 2-3 years, I was really getting into marketing. I bought my first property as a 21-year-old in college, as a 4-unit building by the college. Totally Carlton sheet stuff, right? No money down, 4-unit building, and cash flowed from day one. And it took me about a year of, first of all, probably getting up the courage to go talk to property owners and to make offers that I felt were kind of crazy. And I didn't have any cash, didn't have any credit, like the prototypical no money down thing. So I started in real estate then, and I got interested in real estate then. But what for me, at least for me, Jack, I discovered, so I went to start to try to wholesale and flip, not knowing what I didn't know. It just kind of sounded interesting. So I started to generate leads online. I threw up a website made from GoDaddy. I started making Craigslist ads and sending people over to this website. This is back in 2005, would have been. And I was getting people landing on my website. And there was a challenge, though. There was people landing there. The stats told me there was people there, and they came from clicks from Craigslist. But there weren't very many people turning into a lead. They weren't actually engaging in the form or making a call. And so that kind of started my journey, Jack, to say, well, yeah, checkbox number one, I guess, is getting online. If you want to grow your business using the internet, you got to get online. But I discovered just getting online isn't enough. Like we have to actually now stand out, get in front of the right prospects, and then when they're there, the website has to be structured in a way with the right words and the right structure and the right form and the right call to action, the right look on mobile, and dozens and dozens of other things. It has to be structured in a way where we'll actually engage with it. And so that kind of started my journey in lead gen for real estate for myself. But dude, I discovered, I'm like, oh man, I'm calling all these people, I'm making offers. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do active real estate, but I really love this marketing thing. And so I kept buying and holding properties over the years, maybe one every couple of years, not a big scale. But then I'm like, dude, I like this marketing thing. So if I can figure out how to market and leverage the internet, I can use this in any business. I don't care if it's real estate. I don't care if it's, a mortgage company or selling toilets or whatever the heck it is. And so over that next 2, 3, 4 years, dude, I just went deep. I went deep down the marketing rabbit hole, just learning direct response marketing from guys like Dan Kennedy, learning how to make a website rank well in Google, how to do it with good quality content that added value to the world versus gaming Google. And then I learned how to, once people are there, do what's called a split test and put a piece of software on a site that says, hey, try this variation of this site and see if this actually engages the visitor more and gets them to convert more. And I've ran over 1,000 split tests over the years. And after a little while of building that skill set on my own, generating leads for other people and for my own information business at that time, I just saw a big need, dude. I had a buddy come in, a contractor. He's a paving contractor. He walked into my office here in this building. And he goes, Trevor, he knew I was an internet guy. And he goes, Trevor, he goes, I got this website, pull it up. And I pulled it up, and it was just a general like GoDaddy type of a website that they had built in-house to save money. And he goes, we like the look of it. It looks okay, but it's just not getting us any business. And he goes, what do we have to do to get it ranked high in Google and to have it start getting us some leads? And I knew immediately what to do, Jack, because I'd been doing it for 2-3 years by then. And I go, man, I know what to do, but I don't have the time to do it for you, because it like takes some work and some expertise. And he goes, are there any web guys locally that can do it? I'm like, no, all the web guys are going to make a pretty looking site, but dude, they don't know how to make it perform. Performance is the future, not just getting online. And that's when it clicked, Jack. I'm like, dude, I think I can take this skill set I built over the years, generating 100,000 plus leads in the real estate space, this need I see for small business in general, especially those locally based service businesses like contractor, roofer, real estate investor, agent, the ones with bigger tickets. And I said, I think I can solve this problem of helping them actually not just get online, but actually have something that performs, because if they lose one deal, that's a big deal because it's high ticket. And that's when we started Carrot. That would have been 2013, 2014. It started under a different name, transitioned it to Carrot about a year later. And here we are now, millions and millions of leads, more online leads come through our platform than any single platform out there in the world for motivated house sellers. And dude, it's been a wild ride.
It's been a wild ride. And the one distinction I want to make is that, and I didn't see it back then when I saw it. I saw you like, you did even some stuff where you had like affiliate stuff early on. You had
Yeah.
some websites and you really like indexed them well, and then had like articles and people would read them. And then there was links over to Amazon, and you would
Yep.
you shared it with me. You made
Yeah.
like good income at the time. You made like 6 figures or so
Yeah.
from just basically creating some SEO optimized websites that people would click on, and then from there they would go to different kind of places that are high trust, like Amazon,
Yep.
and it would buy. And I was like, why is he changing from that? Why is he changing over for that? But of course, what I understand now for a long time, I've understood now for a long time, you went from a model that is has a limit in scaling of what you can do, to a model that really is exponentially scalable,
Yep.
and where you can create a true enterprise value.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Because and let's so and along those lines, we are part of a mastermind. I love masterminds. We have our own ultimate boardroom for the experienced land investors, and we have also. And I'm part of like, I think 3 masterminds, and you're
Yep.
part of one with me. And you did a presentation, I think there one time, about different levels of kind of business growth. And I
Yep.
want to dive into that.
Dude, let's do it, because this is the part that I'm passionate about. And dude, I've learned a lot from you over the years, Jack. I was talking with a client of mine. He's actually our largest client in my coaching program, my Epic program, and they did over 500 deals last year. And your name came up in that conversation on Tuesday, because he's starting to step into use his business more intentionally. And he goes, yeah, I remember that book you turned me on to. And it's got that flywheel thing is what he called it. And I go, like, describe it to me. And then it was your, you call it the wealth wheel, or yep. The wealth wheel,
as we call it. Yes.
and so I've learned a lot over the years from you on just like, how do we be really, really intentional with our business? I think if I were to kind of plant a pin in the start of this conversation, it's asking the question of what do you truly want in your business? And this question ran across my mind a couple of years ago, Jack, was when I was going through some challenges in growing through one of the growth levels I'm going to introduce here in a second. And things are hard, and you're kind of maybe second guessing a couple things here or there, going, man, you already have the money. Do I really need to keep doing this? And a thought popped in my mind is, we hire employees, we hire consultants, we hire agencies to do things for us, right? We have a problem, we hire them to do it. And if they don't do it well, we hopefully change something, right? We change the employee, we coach them, we move them out, bring someone else in, or we change the agency. And I was thinking of that same question in my mind as it related to my business at that point. I said, well, what have I hired my business to do for me? And is it doing it? And I wrote down, like, why did I hire my business? To like, what did I do? My business is not here just to fill space, just to fill time. I literally made a decision to hire it to do something in my life. Not to have me run it, but to have it fuel my vision. Not to have me fuel the vision, or have me fuel the business, but it fuels my vision. And at that time, I started writing a list of things down, and I compared it against my long-term vision. I go, man, it's not doing many of the things I hired it to do, so I need to make some changes. And it was probably 4 or 5 years prior to that, Jack, when I had really honed in my personal vision for my life. I call it my personal vision story. And with that vision story, the way that I do it that works really well for me is I just pick a wave a magic wand day. There's no date attached to it, but I just go wave a magic wand. You know, if I could just craft the perfect, ideal, average day from the second I wake up to the second I go to bed in excruciating detail. I'm talking like I wake up, what do I see? What does the room look like? Is there a window? What's outside of that window? I get up, where do I go? You know, do I go in the kitchen? What's the kitchen look like? Who's in there? What conversations do I have? What's out the window over there? What do I eat for breakfast? What's the next thing I do? So like I literally do every moment like that all the way through the day. And when I came to the work portion of it, and when I was showing up to work, I asked the question, well, what does work look like? Because I'm probably never going to stop working. I love working. I think we should just continually refine our work and continually do the things that give us more energy and get rid of the things that don't give us energy. And for me, work didn't include me showing.
That's a key sentence. Like just let's sink that in.
Yep.
Like keep working on the things that give you more energy and less on the things that take away energy. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And that mindset shift for me happened in 2012 because I was in that business with Patrick Riddle. And we did okay. Right. I mean, we didn't make millions or anything. We were making 400 grand, then 600 grand, then 500. And we were kind of stuck at this spot. We could never really break through and get close to $1 million. We didn't know why at the time. I do know now. We didn't know that we were hitting what I call a pain line. And that we had to change the way we were leading. We had to change the way we were showing up in business in order for that pain line to go away, for us to grow through it. And one of those pain lines for me at that time, Jack, was I just wasn't delegating well. I delegated some things, but so much of my work was draining my energy. And then at some point, this would have been 2011, 12, I remember waking up and in my own business that I had created, and it was 3-4 years in, I was going, man, I'm not excited to work in the business. Like, I'm not excited to go to work today in the business that I had created that I thought was going to free me. I thought it was going to give me freedom. And so I had to think about it. And what I ended up doing during that period of time, Jack, is I did analyze the business and decided I just needed to part ways from that business and start from scratch and figure something else out. But the very next thing I did is I said, well, I was guided by, a mentor years ago, a informal mentor, not someone I knew, but just someone I followed. And they say, grab a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle of the paper, right? On one side, write things that make me money. On the other side, things that don't make me money. And then they said, take all the things that don't make you money and get rid of them, like delegate them or stop doing them. And then all the things that do make you money, spend all your time there. And that's what I did. I spent as much time as I possibly could doing the things that made me money, the things that people paid me for, the things that people said I was good at. And what it did, because I didn't realize it, when you optimize for money and when you optimize for doing things that make you money and delegating things that don't with that paradigm, you might delegate the very things that give you the most joy and energy because they don't make you money. Or you might do the things that drain your energy the most and keep you in a job that you hate. And so I flipped that paper around, Jack. I drew a line down the middle of the paper, same thing. I'm just going to change the words at the top. I'm going to put gives energy and drains energy. And then I separated it that way. I call it my energy audit today. And I do that every quarter still today from, I missed a couple quarters over the years, but I do it every quarter. And I had a big old list of things that drained my energy and a decent list of the things that gave me energy. And ever since then, every quarter, especially when I hit a spot that feels like I'm just kind of getting a little wore out, I look at that list that drains energy and I go, okay, let me circle the top 2, 3, 4 things that I dread the most or that drains energy the most, no matter how much money they make, our business. I'm going to write down how many hours a week I'm spending on those things. And my very first job that quarter is to replace myself or delegate those things off, even if they make money. And then as soon as I do, let's say I buy back 10 hours a week, dude, I'm going to go to the energy give column and I'm going to go, amazing. What 1 or 2 things am I going to add to my schedule that give me energy and give me life, no matter if they make money or not? Even better if they make you money, right? That's best. They make you money, drive your business forward, and they light you up. But I've been doing that ever since 2012. That one paradigm shift for me. Don't optimize for time, efficiency or money. Optimize for energy. And when you do, and you step into the things you're amazing at and drive value to the world, the money will follow.
Beautiful. I love that. So like I've heard the one about like and I've even shared it. People like the first thing you want to outsource or you want to give away and is what you don't enjoy doing. Because
Yep.
it's not in your zone of genius. It's not in your area of genius. So just literally get rid of that. And that makes
Exactly.
still to this day makes total sense. But I love that additional level of clarity about what gives me energy and what takes energy.
Yep.
So if something drains you, even if it makes you money, have somebody else do it. That's, I think, a big one
100%.
because most people are like, no, but I'm the best one at it. Like, but it drains the heck out of you.
Yep.
What quality of life do you have if it drains the heck out of you and you're essentially just doing it for the money?
Dude,
And
100%. And that's where we have to go back to that question again of what do I hired my business to do for me? And
yeah,
I'm sharing on the screen here. This is a tool that I use. I didn't invent this one. I think my coach Dan Martell made. I'd worked with him for 6 or 7 years before he became like the Dan Martell everyone sees today. And it's called the drip matrix. And so what I'll do every year, Jack, is every quarter, I've got a process where the first thing I do each quarter, my executive assistant brings in this little packet. For me, it's on my iPad. I've just got my quarterly workbook, and I'll first do my energy audit. Okay, so number one is energy audit. An energy audit, I've got a template for it I can give people. It's just carrot.com/energy. Just go there. It's free. There's even a full training where I walk you through how to use it. Carrot.com/energy. Go grab the energy audit. I use it every quarter, changed my life. I've been using it for 13 years. And I'm going to do the energy drain, what gives me energy, what drains my energy. Then I always do a percentage at the bottom, Jack. I would do like a finger in the air. What percentage of my average work week this past season has been more of the things that give me energy versus more of the things that drain my energy? And I want to be up towards 80% all the time. When I'm not feeling great, it's when more than 50% of my week drain my energy. And that's, I think, when we start to resent our businesses. So I'll do the energy audit first. And then what I'll do, Jack, is I'll take the energy audit and this stuff that drains my energy that's on this list. Then I'm going to pull it over into the next page on my quarterly kind of packet, which is the drip matrix. And this is then how I actually put legs to the energy audit. This is how I actually go, okay, great. What am I going to do about this now? And I'll take all the things that drain my energy over here, and now I'll categorize them. So this right here on the left side, I'm going to try to verbalize it the best I can. This is a battery. So this is stuff that drains energy on the left side of this quadrant, and on the right side of the quadrant, it gives you energy. Okay. And then the north, south, or up, down deal, that's does not actively drive value or revenue in the business or your world. And this up here does actively drive value or revenue. And so I'll take the energy drainers now and go, great. They're going to go over somewhere on the left side. I just need to figure out which ones add value to the world and my business and which ones don't. The ones that drain my energy and really don't drive the business forward, that's busy work, right?
so for
That's the
that,
stuff you
just quickly,
delegate.
for those are listening to this, if you're listening to this, I would encourage you to go over to YouTube, look at Jack Bosch, and then go into under podcast and look for the podcast with Trevor, because he's actually sharing his screen right now and is
Yeah.
putting a quadrant on there. The top left of the quadrant says replace, the bottom left says delegate, the top right says produce, and the bottom right says invest.
Yep.
So continue on. So basically, the draining ones go on the left side. There, you basically, if they drain you, they either need to be delegated or they need to be replaced. Right.
Yep.
So, and on
Exactly.
top of it, the like what's on top of in the top quadrants is replace or produce. So, how do you define if something should be replaced or delegated?
Yep. Yeah. For me, it's all about, does it drive revenue? So I'll give you an example, like a real
Does it
example
drive
with real
revenue?
estate,
Okay, that's
with
an
real estate
indicator.
investors. So it's really common with the ones that I work with and ones that I coach that they get pretty good at sales or acquisitions, right? They're pretty good at hopping on those calls with sellers. They're driving the sales, but a lot of them don't like it. Like a lot of them, as the business grows, they go, man, my calendar's full of calls and this and that. They go, I can't stop doing that because that drives revenue for the business. Someone's got to do it. But man, it just really, really drains my energy. Eventually, what happens is we might get burnt out in our business, or we might resent the business because you hit that pain line. Let's say you're a performer. I'm going to bring you guys over into my business growth levels here in a bit. But let's say that you're a performer in your business. You got really, really good at something. You got really good at marketing. You got really good at talking to sellers and making offers. And that got you, over 300,000, got you up towards that $1 million. But now you're getting to the spot where you're like, man, my schedule is so full and I'm resenting these things. We start to then resent the business and we hit that pain line and we self-sabotage. We avoid those phone calls. We avoid those emails. We avoid the very things that are going to drive the business forward more because we think it's going to create more pain, right? It's going to create more pain. It's going to create more opportunity. And so what I'll do there, Jack, is I'll pick one thing a quarter. One thing per quarter from my energy audit that drives revenue forward that I just really don't like to be fully responsible for, to replace myself in every quarter. One thing a quarter. This quarter, as an example, one of the things I did on the leadership side is I love the act of thinking about vision, casting vision. What I really don't love and drains my energy is sitting in front of a document and typing out vision. And so I partnered with my COO where she wanted to step into that more. And she led taking my vision from a drawing and verbally and auditory into a written vision. I'm like, I need to replace because that drives the business forward. I need to replace myself in it. But what part of that activity do I still enjoy? It doesn't mean I want to delegate the whole thing. Maybe I like part of it, but I don't want to sit in front of the computer typing it out. And so that worked amazingly well. But that's the way I do it, based on energy, dude. Energy audit, and then go over the drip matrix and say, anything that drains my energy and does not actively drive the business forward or revenue forward, we delegate immediately to an executive assistant or someone on my team. And then I pick one thing a quarter, unless you're growing fast, to replace myself in, which is it drives the business forward, drives revenue, but doesn't drain my energy. Or, I'm sorry, but drains my energy. If that makes sense. So, dude, I was going through that business journey myself in 2012 and discovered the energy side of it. But
just go back. So,
yep.
The one thing I either missed it, or perhaps you can just go a little bit more into detail. Like, so the stuff when you say replace, that means you gotta replace yourself. You're not replacing the thing that's causing you trouble. You're not saying like, this product, I hate this product, let's get rid of this product. If the product is a revenue generator and people love it and so on, you're basically saying like, I just need to replace myself in my involvement in that product.
Yeah. Right? The way I think about it is you're always trading up, right? My aim is to spend the vast majority of my time, if possible, up in the produce bucket, which is, that's where you're on fire, right? That's where you're producing, you're doing your art, the thing that gives you energy. It's a unique talent that you've got. It drives the business forward. Let's say you love, putting deals together and networking and talking with people, and you love it and it drives the business forward. But you've got these things down here that are making money but just drain your energy. You need to be trading up. Get rid of the thing that drains your energy but makes you money and replace it. Trade up for something that gives you energy and makes you money. And so that's kind of my cadence every single quarter. But yeah, you're replacing yourself in that activity, which could be you putting a better process in. It could be you one of the things I'll notice, Jack, is I did this a lot, and a lot of people I work with and coach do this a lot, is if they don't like acquisitions, as an example, that's a pretty common one, funny enough, they start to despise acquisitions because it starts to control their calendar. They'll look at that and go, yeah, I just don't want to hop on calls with sellers. I don't like acquisitions. And I've learned to ask the question, what part of acquisitions don't you like? Like, do you get energy from any part of it? And almost every time, not every time, but almost every time, they're like, yeah, I enjoy, like, I do love to stop by and talk to a seller from time to time. Yeah, I'll hop on a seller call from time, especially the bigger ones, like the big complicated ones. I love those ones. It's fun. I go, great. So what part of acquisitions don't you like then? All these other things. I don't like having a quota. I don't like having to have my calendar be filled. I don't like this. I don't want to work on the ones that are the small deals, like all these things. I go, great. Why don't you just keep the part that you like then? Create some guidelines in your business where you do the deals past X threshold, which is a smaller amount of them, but you get more joy from them and they're bigger. And then what you can do is bring someone in to take all the other ones, and now you can train them. I said, do you enjoy coaching and training? They say, yeah, I just don't want to be on all the calls. I go, awesome. Why don't you do a game tape review once a week? You get to listen to 1 or 2 calls with them a week, coach them, train them, set them free. You're improving them. You're still able to hop on a call or two every week with sellers if you want to, but you're not on the hook for it. And that kind of thinking is how I'll think through it. Is what is it that you don't like about that? And maybe you actually want to retain a part of it, but get rid of the parts that don't give you energy.
That makes total sense. Great. Thank you for clarifying.
Dude,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the key thing, because like it's not a black or white, it's not an all or nothing. It's very simply, it's like really get to know you and what you love doing. So translated to the land side of things, like if you love doing the $100,000 deals and what comes with them, but you don't like the deals that are like highly complicated and only make you $5,000.
Yep.
Well, then you can, that's where I was like, that's where like you can skip those, you can stop doing those, or you can start bringing somebody in that perhaps loves the digging with the title company, or perhaps you like the simple deals and not the complicated deals. You don't like the title stuff. So you bring somebody in that really thrives in solving title issues and finding people and coordinating things. And all of a sudden you can do all these $5,000 deals, even though they take 5 times more works, perhaps than a simple $80,000 deal. And you can keep them paying for everything. And now you got something that pays for your bills, and the $80,000 deals are all profit. They're all company profit, and you only engage in the higher ones and let somebody else deal with the other ones. So
yeah, and in your net more energy too. Like that's the cool thing is you start to enjoy your business more. And that's really what this would have been about 7 years ago, Jack. I was at this coffee shop across the street from my office here. And this office, it's about 8,000 square feet. Carrot, we're a remote company, about 50 employees, but we only have about 7 or 8 here locally. We kind of take the back part of the building, and the other tenants take the rest. And we own the building next door, 6,000 square feet of retail, 2,000 square feet of amazing loft apartments. 3 more buildings down, same thing, 2,000 square feet of retail, another loft apartment behind another building across the street. And the reason I bring this up is when I was sitting across the street at that coffee shop. I was kind of in a little bit of a crossroads in my business. I didn't know it at the time, but I was hitting another one of those pain lines. And I'm going to talk about the pain lines and the growth levels here in a second, where things break in business on 3s and 10s, right? 100,000, 300,000, a million, 3 million, 10 million, 30 million and up. And as I lived through all of those, phases, up into the 8 figures. And as I was a part of other businesses, there's 2 other businesses I've been a part of from day one, own equity in the company that went to 8 figures as well. Both of them hit the 505,000 list as well. I've learned a lot through those to go, oh man, okay, there's patterns here. It wasn't just unique to me in this business. And then coaching so many people in the real estate space, I saw these patterns. And so when I was sitting there, I said, well, my vision, my personal life vision story, when I go back to that ideal average day and I ask, what does my work look like? My work didn't include me sitting in front of a desk for 7 hours a day and on Slack all the time and having a bunch of deliverables to the team and being on meeting after meeting after meeting. That wasn't my ideal work day. And I don't think that's anybody's ideal work day when we create that initial dream of our business, right? That's not our vision, but that's what becomes of a lot of our work days. And so I was asking the question, what does that workday look like? And it was me showing up, and I've got a small staff, and I own an umbrella of companies, and my workday consists of meeting with the amazing leaders of those companies, those CEOs, to brainstorm with them and to help unblock them and to coach them and to get updates in the companies and to bring amazing people together that have resources and pair them together so they can go out there and make deals together and write and create art. And my art is this kind of stuff, thinking about business challenges and putting them into more make sense diagrams, graphics, telling the story, writing my next book. And I was looking at myself when I was sitting in the coffee shop. I'm going, man, there's a little bit of a gap between where I am now and where I want to be. What do I need to change? And the thing that popped up for me, Jack, is I said, well, if I'm going to be a person who owns multiple businesses but doesn't own any, I need to have a model. Like I need to have a model on how I think about business that I can transfer to other owners, that I can coach, that I can lead. And that's what came of. Then what came of that was my entrepreneur freedom formula. I've got it up on the screen here for those watching the YouTube version. But for me, it's all centered around freedom and impact. Like when I ask the question, why, what am I hiring my business to do for me? It's to create freedom. And there's a lot of definitions behind that. What does freedom mean to you? It's going to mean something a little different for everybody. But for me, it's that I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, and with who I want to do it with. right? Where you don't feel constricted by the business, you feel freed by the business. And sometimes that's really hard because at certain levels of our business, you just look at it and go, man, I really can't do that right now. I've got to grow through this phase to get to that spot so I can earn enough revenue to hire the next person or whatever it is. And the next part for me, Jack, was impact. I said, yeah, it'd be pretty sweet to be able to have freedom, but it'd be empty if it was just me having freedom for the sake of freedom versus freedom to go out there and make a greater impact in the world, to be of service to people versus just significance. And for me, there's the three things, Jack, that when I asked the question of myself, like, well, how do you do that? What are the things that have helped me have more freedom and make more impact? And when I study those people, it seemed like they are doing more of what I wanted to do. What are they doing? And it came down to the three things. They had purpose, right? They felt some sense of purpose in their work. They enjoyed their work. There was an impact that they were making. They had a vision for the impact and the purpose they want to make with that company. The next thing is they built a business that gave consistent profits. My previous company to that, Jack, the boom and bust kind of info business one, Patrick and I would make 130 grand one month because we launched a new VSL. Then we would make 9 the next month, then 72, and then 40, then 14. And at the end of the year, our tax statement looked pretty good, but it's kind of stressful because you're going, man, where's my income coming from 3 months down the road? Right. And so when I wrote this out, I said, no, it's not just profits. It's not just growth. It's consistent profits. When we have consistency in a business and an income, we can plan, we can hire ahead, we can invest ahead, and we can create something that's more enjoyable. And then after that, it's like, great, we've got purpose. We know where we're going. We're making an impact. There's a reason we're doing this beyond just significance. We're building a consistent revenue engine. And now the next thing is, awesome, I've got a business going, but now that business is probably consuming my time, right? I'm probably working 40, 50, 60 hours a week at this point because the business is working. But now I need to step into the part that is energy and time, buying back my energy and time, which is where energy audit comes in and other things. Last part here, Jack, is once we then buy back that energy and time through that next level, what then happens is then we hit this spot where we go, okay, I've got some time again. I've got this energy. I'm able to do the things I want to do. And then oftentimes this whole circle, I feel, is about a 3-year cycle. It goes clockwise, about 3-year cycle. I have a vision, create a strategy around a business. I get the business going, get some consistent income. Man, I'm busy. I got to get my energy and time back because I feel swamped. Energy audit, hire some people, get some good process in place. And now we get to this spot, and where a lot of people go wrong, Jack, is about 2, 3, 4 years in that business. They have what I call the 3-year turn and burn cycle. Mm-hmm. Where
that sounds very familiar to a lot of people I've seen, and to us too. Like, yeah. If I look back, like every once in a while, you get your business hits a level where you're supremely frustrated with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what happens is we're frustrated with it, and the biggie is the motivation that we had to initially start that company, right? That we had a dream. We had a dream that we wanted to go towards, and we had a pain probably that we were moving away from. Maybe it's a job you didn't like, or a business. In my case, in 2012, it was a business that I felt I had built that trapped me. And we have this external motivational force that pushes us and says, man, you got to change something and get something going. And when we get that business consistent, we start to lose that sense of newness. As entrepreneurs, oftentimes we like the startup, we don't like the maintenance. And so around that 2 to 3 year mark, that motivation, that initial motivation that got us moving to run away from that thing we didn't like, until we have a new vision or a refreshed vision, I call it, we oftentimes get stuck. We get stagnant. We get bored. We start to resent the business. We get distracted, and we go start something new because we want that feeling again. And what I would challenge people to do is at that spot, after you've had that initial vision, you reach a lot of those goals, you built a consistent revenue engine, you bought back some of your time, rather than getting distracted out of the business that got you there because you're in pain in that business now, it's not as much fun.
Get distracted inside of it.
Get distracted inside of it, right? Ask the question, like, what's the next thing that I would want to be able to do? And it usually starts with me saying, first of all, is there a bigger vision I could get excited about that I could drive forward with this company? And a lesson I've learned, Jack, is a business will never outgrow your identity, right? Like, if you have an identity of a person who is capable of and wants to run and is running an 8-figure company, if I come into a $1 million a year business as a person who has an identity of a person that's confident to run an 8-figure company, that $1 million company would have no choice but to grow. It would have no choice but to grow. Now, if I went to run my friend Toby's company, that's a $300 million a year company, I'm not a $300 million a year CEO. I don't have that identity right now. I don't have the traits, the habits, the disciplines, the confidence at that level. Over time, unless I upgraded my identity massively quick, that business likely over time would have no choice but to shrink or
That's
grow
right.
to the founder's identity. Okay.
Love that. I mean, let's break that apart here. Love this. Let's break that apart for just a few minutes. And the one thing is, I can relate to that so much. The identity part is a given,
Yeah.
but I think you said something earlier, like why grow, why get distracted outside of the business? So many people do that.
Yep.
They
Yep.
get, and including myself, I remember even like when we started building our land business, the number one most important thing we did is we put the blinders on for 5 years and
Yeah.
we just grew our land business. And then we came across plenty of challenges in that business and to grow it beyond like 60, 100, 150 kind of deals. Then we started the land auctions and then we started this and then and so on and so forth. But at some point of
Yeah.
time, and then we looked around, and then even when we started the coaching business, which initially was always my dream to do something like that, but
Yeah.
it was an outside distraction for the land
Yep.
business, of course. But then even in that thing, over time, we're like, oh, we get distracted with this and distracted
Yep.
with that, and I remember it was 2016 when I made the decision that from now on, because I'm a typical entrepreneur, I'm a big starter, but not a finisher in many things.
Yep.
So I made the decision, or easily distracted for the news challenge. I made the decision that from now on, I'm not going to let myself be distracted by anything outside of the company. I'm going to find the diversity that I need and the basically the changes and the new stuff that juices me. I'm going to
Yep.
find that inside of our company.
There
And
we
guess what
go.
happened since then? Our company's grown 50 to 70% year after year for the next 6 years after that.
Dude, that part excites me because I was the guy, Jack, when we met. Like I was the 2 to 3 year business guy. I would start
Yeah.
things and start things and start things and I always wondered like why could I just never crack through? And it was that reason. And so let me kind of dive into these 6 growth levels now. And I'm sharing it visually on the screen for those watching the YouTube version. So head over to Jack's YouTube channel, check that out, but I'll verbalize it as well as I can. So on that entrepreneur freedom formula journey, that one where we're starting with vision and then we start with vision and purpose and you go into build a consistent business. And each one of those little nodes that you saw on there, each one of these, I have process, playbooks, trainings for every single one of those for my team, for my students that I work in. It's full of processes and playbooks to go around there to go execute those parts of the business. And so when I started working with CEOs that I own parts of the business like Sales Message or other ones, or when I started to coach people, because I myself, Jack, this is about 2 years ago, I go, man, if I want to step in to be that type of leader who has CEOs of businesses that I own all or part of, and I coach them, I go, man, I got to be a better coach. I got to put in some more reps to coach really quality leaders. And so that's when I started my coaching company called Epic. That's where y'all see Epic all over the thing here. Got 30 or 40 people I'm working with right now. They're all from 300,000 to about 13 million a year in revenue in the real estate or construction space. And as I started to work with them, Jack, a couple dynamics happened. I'm picking up in that entrepreneur freedom formula with them, and I'm trying to figure out where are they, right? Oh man, you got a consistent business. We need just to buy your time back. Or man, you got the consistent business and your time's bought back, but you're empty, you feel empty inside. We need to get you some purpose and upgrade your identity and vision. And the challenge that happened is when I was working with someone who was making 350 versus someone who a year versus someone who's making 7.5 million a year. While the entrepreneur freedom formula, those 3 things are relevant for every stage massively, the things they need to delegate as an example, or the identity they needed to step into as an example, or the strategy that they needed to shift was different based on their business level. And so then I dove in over about a 1.5 year period, just diced my own experience apart, hopped on calls with buddies who've been through these phases and worked with dozens of people I put it into this matrix that is insanely, frighteningly accurate as I've gone through and worked with people. And so I'll kind of buzz
Yeah,
through
and I'm
some of
looking at
these.
it right now. It's like it has six different columns. One is like depending that separate businesses based on their size. Like from zero to $100,000, it's you and a VA. 100 to 300, it's an EA and an agency, whatever that means. And then 300 to a million, you're talking about now having a sales team. 1 to 3 million, you start having managers. 3 to 10 million, you have people who are head of departments, and at 10 to 30 million dollars, you have a C-level executive team that actually runs it. At that point, you're actually no longer delegating, or even at the $3 million level, you're in true leadership mode where you actually hire other leaders and let them run because they know their stuff better than you do.
Big time, big time. And you
Yeah.
are the thing that I found is you are still delegating, but you delegate different things at each level. So an example, across the board, I think the most important thing that I've learned that I coach people on is you got to recognize where you are, number one, but I can recognize what your revenue is based on the pain that you're experiencing in your business. Like I can talk to someone for 5 minutes and I go, no, you're probably making between 500,000, 1.2 million a year, aren't you? Like, oh my gosh, yes. And so, the first pain line, if we were to look at these as threes and tens, right? 0 to 100,000, 100,000 to 300,000, 300,000 to a million, a million to 3, 3 to 10, 10 to 30. Each one of those, you experience a different pain line. When you just get started, so anyone who's listening to this who's newer on their journey and you're just getting started, maybe you've got the job and you're trying to get your first land deal done, or maybe you've got a few land deals done, you're making 40, 50 grand. The pain line you're probably experiencing is mindset, right? It's I've got to get over that mindset hump. I've got to believe I can do this. I've got to what I call flip your risk profile, where the biggest risk is in actually not taking a chance. The biggest risk is not in taking the chance. And you got to eliminate plan B. In that stage, there's no plan B. Plan A and only A is I succeed in this thing. And I align with the right coach like Jack and make it happen, because Jack has made it happen for himself and tons of other people, right? So that's a mindset thing. But the identity, we'll kind of touch on identity. I'm not going to go through all these boxes. People can get this entire thing, Jack, for free. No opt-in at all in this one. It's just on my personal website. It's Trevor Mauch, so TREVOR MAUCH.com/freedom. So trevormauch.com/freedom. You're going to be able to get the entrepreneur freedom formula graphic, this whole growth levels graphic. It's just right there on the page. Just copy it, print it off, put it on the wall, whatever you're going to do. Okay. And then if you guys want to, because I don't have time to go through each one of these levels, I have my podcast, Jack, I launched about a year ago, called the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula. So you guys can find that on YouTube, find that on podcast stuff, wherever you listen to podcasts, Entrepreneur Freedom Formula with Trevor Mauch. And I have if you go all the way to the start of those episodes, the first, I think, 7 or 8 episodes dive into each one of these levels individually. So you want the deep dive on the 300K to a million level. Awesome. Listen to me for 20 minutes, talk about every single nuance of that and what you need to grow through and grow out of that level if that's where you're at. So check those out, guys, for the deep dive.
Beautiful.
But on the identity side, I think one of the biggest things, Jack, is when we're growing as leaders, and I talked about your business will never outgrow your identity. I think people don't think about identity and standards enough when they set goals. They set a number goal and they think it'd be cool to do, but they don't realize that to go from $0 in revenue to $4 million in revenue, you've got to functionally become a different person in many ways. You've got to lead in a different way.
That's one of the key things that most people don't understand. They think like they're wondering, why can't I grow beyond that? Because you almost also have to do everything on your daily work 100% the opposite of what you did at the very beginning.
Dude. Yep. 100%. And I think the biggest change that happens, so the identity of that 0 to 100K, you've got to be a dreamer, right? You've got to be someone who has a dream, like you want better, you want new, and that dream pulls you forward. You know, your vision is really just to remove yourself from this pain back here, whatever the job is or the business. Like I'm dreaming, and my vision, I don't have this massive vision yet, probably. I'm just trying to get away from this thing I don't like into something I think is going to be better. That next level up, 100K to 300K, that pain line is more around time management because you figured out a way to make some money now, right? We got some deals coming in. I got some marketing working. There's some level of basic consistency, but I don't have enough revenue to go hire a bunch of people to help me. I might have a VA or someone who's helped me with some stuff. So I've got to get really good at time management. I've got to nail my personal productivity habits and just really master that. And my vision at that point, it's not this big grandiose vision. A lot of times it's like, hey, this is starting to work. I just need to stay away from that pain. I got away from it. I need to stay away from it now. Right. You move to the next level. I'm only going to go up to probably the 1 to 3 million. So 2 more, and I'll toss over to you and we can take it wherever you want to go. The next level, then that 300,000 to $1 million, you get to $1 million in revenue by stepping in and 2 things. Number one, you cannot get over $1 million and stay over $1 million if you don't start to get pretty darn good at delegation, like accomplishing tasks through others. I know people who have got to $1 million, 1.2. They delegated things, but they kept holding on to so many of the things that they traditionally did that they now don't have time to. Things started to drop down, fall through the cracks. So the business shrank. The business, it's not that you can't get over that line. It's that you're going to naturally have this tension pulling you back to the level that your identity is and the level of your mastery. And so on that one there, your identity is a performer. Dude, to get to $1 million, from 300K to $1 million, you start to get really good at something. You're starting to get really good at acquisitions or sales or marketing or webinars or whatever it is. Like you've mastered something and you are performing. And the reason that business is growing is because you're performing well. You're starting to delegate a few things, the things that are draining your energy the most, but you're really, really busy. And now at this point, you're going, man, this is kind of working. I think this can work. I really want to get really consistent income and grow it. Then we'll go to 1 to 3. That next one is about scaling process. And this is where I see probably the most people outside of Dreamer. This is where I talk with the most people who get stuck. Is they can perform, man. They figured it out. They learn the skill sets from Jack's programs and they learn those things. They go, dude, I can do this. But then, like I said, they got to 1.2 million. Then they kept on going back. They need to shift from a performer to a builder, a person who builds people, a person who builds process and structure, a person who is able to build a strategy and a vision and communicate that to people. You need to be a builder. It doesn't mean you can't perform still in those areas, but at that spot, the business starts to need to get good at some of the things you've historically been good at. Maybe this is where acquisitions got you where you are, but it drains your energy and you love this other part. I need to build now. I need to learn how to hire. I need to learn how to onboard. I need to learn how to train. I need to learn how to help them create process. And that's all things that you can learn. But a lot of people have a real hard time shifting into that. Big time.
That's beautiful. Love that, man. That is about as, we have built several companies into the 8 figures. So, but we also have seen companies built into the 8 figures, particularly early on, and then shrink back. And the reason why they shrank back is that the identity side of it was not yet developed to the level that it needed to be. And we also have seen other companies go to 8 figures, then shrink back due to market conditions and coming back into the 8 figures because now our identity has grown. And it was just simply, once your identity is somewhere, it's just simply unacceptable for the company to be below that. And you're going to be like, this is not me. This is just simply, I always, when I talk about that, and I've talked about that in other episodes, or I talked to that with our coaching students, I always like to explain it to like the sales guy. There's a sales guy that every year consistently does $150,000 in sales, or his income is $150,000 in commissions. Now comes November, and he's only at $120,000. He's only on $100,000. What's going to happen in November and December? The November 1st happens, and he's only at $100,000. His identity is not going to be happy with him doing $110,000 or $120,000. He's gonna fire up all cylinders, and he's gonna end the year magically at $150,000. But what happens if that same guy is at $160,000 come to November 1st? You watch somebody do nothing for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
because his identity is that of $150,000 a year commission guy.
Yep.
And unless he changes that, he's gonna magically end exactly where he where his identity is, and either by action
Exactly.
or by inaction, whichever it calls for in order to meet that goal.
Yep.
So the thing is, that's why I always say identity comes first. You really
Hmm.
need to work on that identity like crazy. And again, in the past, I didn't know that. That's why we had businesses go
Yeah.
high and then come back down,
Yep.
and then go high and come back down. And now we have businesses go high, go down due to different market conditions, and then
Yep.
come back up. And it's not our land business, other businesses, and then come back up because we're like, no, we're running a $15 million company here, and we are going to
Yep.
go bring it back to being a $15 million company, because that's what we stand for. That's what we are. And at the same
Exactly.
time, you want to grow actually for your identity to grow to that of a $30 million company, because then the growth is going to continue to that level.
Yep. 100%. And one thing that I want to kind of toss out there for people too, especially when you're in masterminds, you're around high level people like Jack, you're gonna see people, or even listen on this call, where there's 2 8-figure business guys talking on this call, right? We were both people who ran businesses that were 0, then 6 figures, and we figured out how to grow to $1 million. Then after some trials and errors, then we figured out how to crack through the 8. But here's the thing: is I'm a big believer, Jack, that a business should only be as big as it needs to be to fuel the vision that you have for your life, right? Like, as an example, Elon Musk, he has to have businesses that bring in billions and billions and billions of dollars, because his vision is to get to Mars. His vision is to take the world off of fossil fuel. Those visions require billions of dollars. But most people's visions aren't that, and that's fine. Most people's visions are to get the freedom to be able to take the trips and have the time that they want to, and or whatever it's going to be. And I encourage people to get really clear, what life do you truly want? And then ask yourself, well, how much money does that life actually cost? Jack, I have absolutely been loving your security, comfort, luxury process. Dude, I've been that one training we did to my Epic program, I send that to every single person who comes in my program brand new. It's like, got to go check out the training with Jack, because one of the first things people have to do is they've got to, just like you've done, recognize, what life do I want and how much is this thing going to cost me? And then ask the question, do I really want that? Is it ego based, or is it like, do I actually want that? Like, yeah, I really, really want that. That's truly what I want. And then you ask the question of, great, what am I hiring my business to do for me? Well, you're hiring your business to do that, right? It's 2 things. You're hiring your business to deliver that, and then you get to make the decision, at what point do I reach up into comfort from security once I've created that moat. And it might now need a little bit bigger vision with your business, because you might need to earn a little bit more income to support your giving or support the new house. And then when you reach up into luxury, after you've created your moat, like Jack teaches on the comfort, you might need to now have a bigger vision on the business side to support that. And then the second thing our businesses should do for us is not only support that life, it should be to enable us to do work that we enjoy, enable us to do work that gives us energy, that we feel like we're contributing, that we're not just showing up and getting a check. Those 2 things. You're hiring the business to help you do work that gives you joy and gives you energy. You're hiring the business to literally pay for that defined lifestyle and that life that you've already mapped out using Jack's process. And once you nail that, guys, I don't care if your business is $300,000 a year. If you're insanely happy at $300,000 a year and it's paying for the life that you want, and you're not complaining about things, and more of your work gives you energy than not, you're exactly where you should be right now, until you upgrade your vision and your identity. If you're making $12 million a year, and that $12 million a year is funding the life that you want and funding the giving that you want, and most of your work gives you energy, and that's kind of how you show up and sharpen your saw and learn, amazing. But don't grow a business that's 12 million a year because of ego, or because everyone around you in a mastermind says you need to grow a bigger goal, when your life might actually be amazing at $1 million a year. Okay, right. Guys, build the business for a purpose.
I love that. Man, love that. We could probably talk for hours, but we do have to wrap up. So if you want to stop the screen share from one thing, we can finish it up. So this is great stuff. I'm definitely going to have you back. Probably, we need to talk to you about you coming out to our Ultimate Boardroom Mastermind for those already experienced real estate investors. This is the kind of stuff that we talk about there, because everyone in the room is already doing deals is already at 6 figures, some of them 7 figures, some of them 8 figures, and that's where the best of the land community come together. So I would love for you to speak to us in one of the ways, either in our Zoom calls or even in person. We'll talk to you about that offline. But again, give us quickly again, carrot.com, like the vegetable, is where people can get started with actually having their own lead generation platform. And then also, if you're already running a business and you want to scale that business, then is on Trevor Mauch. Again, it's his name, Trevor, TREVORMAUCH.com, and then /freedom, right?
Yep, there we go.
Got that. So we're obviously going to put that into the show notes and everyone. So go make sure you look it up there. Trevor, it was awesome. As I hope we see each other in person soon again. Loved our breakfast that we had last time we were in town. Any last words you have for our team? I mean, you really finished it up beautiful. So like focus on a business focus on grow your business to the level that you truly, that it serves you to the level of your vision. And if you forget about the world outside of you, that's just because somebody else grows it to 10 million doesn't mean you have to, because if you don't want, if you have a certain goal in mind, then accomplish that goal and then see what happens afterwards. But don't fall for the more just for the sake of more, because soon enough your life is over and then you have created a lot more, but you still haven't had time to enjoy it. And what I particularly love it, that you laid out a blueprint to actually having a business that you can actually also enjoy, because you focus on the energy. There's nothing wrong with working 120 hours a week if you want to, if it gives you energy. If you're doing the thing that you want to do all freaking day long, who the heck wants to stop working if you're doing what you're loving all day long, right? Dude, so it's not about the hours, it's about energy, and I absolutely love that.
Exactly. And I'll finish with two things. One of them piggybacking on what you mentioned there. I'm a firm believer that burnout is not because of working too many hours. Just like you said, burnout is because you're not doing the things outside of work or inside of work that give you life and joy. Right. So if you're not working out or hanging out with your friends or doing the things that you really love outside of work, you need to get those back into your life, into your schedule, because if you're doing those, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the stuff that gives that burns you out if you're not doing the things that you enjoy. Okay, number two, the thing I want people to pull away from this is this: a few things. One of them, get locked into that vision that you want. Right? What's that life? Number two, like Jack teaches, then what's that going to cost you? Leverage Jack's security, comfort, luxury model, where I'm sure you've got a training on it somewhere. That might just be for your high-end clients. I'm not sure, but I love it. I use it myself.
We put it out in our book, but the book I published 12 years ago, and it hasn't been in print for quite a few years, so I got to reprint it. You give me like motivation to go create a version 2 finally and bring it back out there, because the message behind it is not gone. It's an everlasting message that 100% makes
every single one of our coaching clients, man, one of mine, they go through some of your stuff because I love it.
Cool.
And
I'm excited. Thank you.
Define that. And then number 3, guys, ask yourself, what did I hire this business to do for me? Okay. The business didn't hire you, but I think a lot of us treat it that way, that we work for the business. No, the business works for you. Get clear on what you hired it to do. And if it's not doing what you want it to do, ask, what change do I need to make this next 90 days to make it better?
Wonderful. Love that. Perfect ending to a wonderful show. Guys, watch this 2-3 times because there's a lot of gold nuggets in here. With that said, thank you, Trevor, for being with us. Thanks, everyone, for watching the show or listening to the show. If you're listening to it, go watch it on YouTube. Go over to jackbosch.com, subscribe, go to the podcast, watch the video there, or wherever you find the videos. And because this one is one to watch and rewatch again.